Hi guys, welcome back to my show. I'm sure everybody saw the first episode. We're going to be talking about Oak Island and their first episode that everybody saw because it was their first one of the show as of season 6, and it was the first episode. Anyway, as I was looking through the stuff, I kind of, curiosity, checking things as they found them type thing on this new show. One of the new things that they found was this George coin from 1797. So I did a little research on that to check it out to see what was going on with it. And basically it's a British penny. And I think if they think it's worth value. It's a copper coin. It's not worth a lot of value, especially being that it was, not really a sought-after coin. Now, what's interesting about this is, now, if this is a true picture and they cleaned it up, it's kind of interesting how well it cleaned up. If they didn't, and I know you guys see this picture, right? Let me check, make sure y'all, yeah, all right. So you guys are seeing the picture for what it's worth and how it cleaned up, if this is cleaned up after their situation. But as I was researching the actual coin, it's from Great Britain. It's the first copper penny to be circulated in Britain. It's called a cartwheel penny, designed to combat counterfeiting back in the time. So I guess they had counterfeiting problems back in the day, just like we do now. And it weighs exactly 1 ounce of copper, and it was a very large coin compared to other ones I guess they had. And it says Georgius 3 DG Rex, and the reverse side is Britannia to the left side, and it has a holding an olive branch, a trident with a shield resting beside, with a ship in the distance, and legend reads Britannia above with a date below. And so it varies to 10 leaves, 11 leaves, and so on. So as I was looking this up, there's different conditions, just like any other kind of coin out on the market. This gives you kind of close up of what one of the sides looks like, what they're describing. But anyway, this was minted in Soho, Handsworth, England. Roughly there was 8,600,000 of these that were minted. They consider this semi-scarce, but not real. It's not scarce, And then there's different values according to what they have. The lowest value is $13. If it's been uncirculated and near mint, it wouldn't even be in the ground, so they're not going to get the full value of it, which would have been between $675 to $800 and almost $20. So if they found it in the condition they in, and if they can read everything in it, the highest value they can get is maybe $310 for it. Otherwise, it's going to be between $13 to $57 for that kind of coin. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And I know I've already had comments out there saying, oh, this is a fake show, and yeah, okay. But even if it is, it's all for entertainment. And, let's say, yeah, they bought the coin on eBay and stuck it in the ground. Who knows? I don't know. It's very possible. You've got eBay in Europe. You can get a lot of crap from them from Europe to get sent over here. And remember, they have the show off air over the whole summer, so it's possible. I'm not saying it is. It's just an interesting topic to talk about because we're talking period, and we're communicating for one. Number two, we're talking about history. So kind of for those who don't know a lot about past history, especially the kids coming up in the school system, maybe it'll get them interested in some history. Who knows? Anyway, so as we continue on with The Curse of Oak Island and talking about the show on season 6, episode 1, yes, they did a little revamping on the last episodes. Yes, they did some blasting in the ground with dynamite, and I can understand that because that's what they call sonic burps, to understand what's going on underneath the earth. They do that a lot with different geographical geology type of situations, and so on and so forth, just like taking an x-ray basically underneath the ground but at a bigger depth. So yeah. And then the other thing I didn't really do a lot of research on, because I don't don't see enough at the moment warranting the situation of what they had, but they evidently uncovered a rock and it had like a iron loop in it. And I know from past history, 1803, when the docks came into New York, they would have these iron anchors, military-wise as well as civilian-wise, for the ships. They also used it in big end constructions, and they use it actually, Egyptians have used something similar to that, as in weight, like a counterweight for a scale or something. So that's a picture of that. And I really didn't see any interest going further in that and to check that out right now, because that just didn't really spark anything of suspicion for me at the moment. But the other thing is, they did a lot of metal detecting on the whole show, from what I saw, and they had their archaeologist guy there too, which was kind of interesting. I guess he's got to document everything that's going on. But I think one of the really interesting things that kind of gave me a flag of interest to follow up with it and to investigate it maybe a little bit more was this other rock that they were uncovering. It had a lot of moss on it, and it was quite interesting. And being over a time period, I could see why they would have it covered. Time does that, whether it's with erosion, corrosion, or growth from various different plants and things. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm trying to get it at the right episode here. Right here, where he starts dousing it with water. And as you can see, when he does it, you notice these characters that come up? Okay? Now, a lot of secret societies would have a lot of this. And if you noticed here, to me, that looks like an actual symbol, and symbol. Okay? So we're going to reflect on that a minute, and I want you to check something out. Remember in the beginning of Oak Island, they had something called the Kempton Cipher, and that was the cipher for the 90-foot stone. Okay? Now, I matched a lot of these characters that they have down below here. I don't know if it won't open more. Okay. But I matched some of the characters with it. I got 3 of them off of it, and it comes to, if you do the conversion, I think if I did the conversion right, NFT, or it could be NFF. Well, I'm like going backwards, forwards on that, checking out any words that might end it or begin it. Nothing was coming up. Then I looked into abbreviations, and that's when certain things started popping up on that. And this, I don't know if this will show it right or not. Let me see. But if you look at the Campton Cipher, and then look at this rock, it's a very interesting situation on that came up. Here's a picture of the rock so you guys understand what I'm looking at. Okay, so there's the rock, but as you can see on the rock that they brought up there, and let me see if I can go forward a little bit on this maybe. No. Alright, maybe not. Alright, I'll just leave it there so don't screw it up too much. Hopefully, okay. But, you know, there's this. It could be an arrow or it could be an actual one of the ciphers. Okay. And then this definitely looks like a pyramid, like an upside down pyramid. And then another symbol right over here. So you got 1, 2, 3. And they didn't show the whole rock, so it makes me wonder if there's going to be more cipher around the side of the rock the other way, or up top or down below it. And they need to water down their rocks. Anytime they're finding stuff, they need to water these rocks down completely so they can see if any ciphers are coming up. So, yeah. Anyway, so we're going to go back to, and this is, like I say, now I was looking at the one down below here. Also the one that could have been an X here as the one, and then another one. So what I came by, which was kind of interesting, was something called a Cabal language. And it basically was spoken in Kambali, east capital of Algeria, and groups near Bilbao. And that's why I was looking, because it could have been a code, even though they're writing it in the Campton Cipher then could have been coded with this other code, which would lead to native to Algeria. Now, think about that. Right now, we've had wars in Algeria, sometimes currently even, okay? Their writing system is Arabic, Latin, and Tifnod. Okay. Now, Latin was very fluent, you know, back in the Renaissance time, the Victorian age, the Georgian age, and all that. Okay, so let's put 2 and 2 together kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? It's a possibility. Also, too, look at the region, okay? The part that's in red is the area that it is from in Europe, okay? And then the pink part is like 5%, but the highest part is red, and that's 100%. So it could be just a, you know, thing. I don't know, but it's something to explore. They did have 7 districts in their region, and when I was looking at it, they have many different dialects. Okay, so they have far western villages, west, and then eastern villages. Okay, and then they explain the language a little bit here. And this is taken from Wikipedia, but you guys can find your own thing on it. So, like, their script has been official, like, in Morocco. And look at this. You guys are seeing it for the first time. But I want to get a close-up of that. I don't know if you guys can see that sign. Can you see that sign? Can I get a closer look? Let's see. There we go. See that? Do you see these characters underneath? And up top? What does that look like? That kind of looks like the Campton Cipher, don't it? What do you think? I got some possibilities. Kind of looks similar, don't it? Yep. Well, it's the dialect. So the dialect can be off by a little bit, and that's why maybe they went to the Campton Cipher, right? Yep, that's very possible. Well, and then the interesting part that I found also was how they were speaking it, okay, which is interesting in any kind of thing, and I'm not a person of speech here when it comes to foreign stuff. But yeah, you guys are exploring it as much as I am right here, right now. But they're saying this also interesting dialect here, because a lot of people may have traveled in and out, not only for a trade situation with the ships with different types of cargo, different types of treasure, items brought to the western eastern world type situation, and vice versa. But they're also stating, well, I don't know if it was in this article or the other one that I had. Maybe it was in the other one and I didn't save it. But I believe when one of these articles, let me see if it was in this one or the other one. Whoops. Let's go back to the other one. See the difference? See the little lines? See? Look at that. We just saw that, didn't we? Right. Yeah. Okay. So, similarities, yes? I think we're in agreement. Alright. So, and they're talking about a lot of societies and people that visit the island, and etc. and so on. So yeah. So anyway, as I was reading this article in Wikipedia, there was another one coming up with abbreviations of UFN, which was another kind of like society. Not as old, so I didn't really dive into that one. But the NFF or NFT and frontwards and backwards, I pulled it up, you know, like I say, the other way, thinking it could be even initials for a man or something. Nothing came that way, but something did come up with the connection to Africa. And I know, you know, with a little research, they're saying that, you know, they have the actual treasure there. So yeah, I haven't gotten into it deep enough yet, but as the show goes on, I'm hoping they show more of that stone to give me more clues and indication of research to go further with it. But this is what I've got so far, and just interesting for just history's sake, you know what I'm saying? And then on the same new episode of season 6 episode 1 here, towards the end they find another brooch, which is kind of interesting. And it happened, and the stone looks almost like the same thing as the garnet from the other one they found, which I think is kind of weird in a way, but it's possible, I guess, to find two from that time period. But if you saw my past videos, I showed you the brooch from season 5 that they found, and they are saying that it was a rudolite garnet. And back in the day, in the Victorian time and Georgian time, it was a very popular stone, kind of like a diamond. Gemstones back in the day weren't a thing to put in something unless someone had a lot of money to do so. Most jewelry back in the day was not of that quality, if they were even able to get something of that sort. Now, what I kind of found interesting is from last year's to this year's in the research of jewelry, dealing and looking for research on the antiquity of the actual items. Last year's research showed that it was kind of like a Georgian, Victorian type style type of pin, according to my previous videos. You guys will have to go back into my other videos and check that out. I think it's the part 2 one, maybe it might be in, I'm not sure. But check it out. Also too, I forgot to tell you guys, click to subscribe to my channel so that you can get updates on any of my stuff that I do. But yeah, let me see if I can get the picture here for the new one. The new brooch here in season 6 had similar qualities, and I'm trying to get on that picture here. If I can get close to details, I can. Here we go. Maybe not. Let's see. Bear with me. So, there we go. There's a picture of it right there. So, again, it was in the ground. Okay. Now, what I thought was kind of interesting, it kind of looks like it could be either an amethyst or a garnet. Garnets do have a weird hue of purpleness in it type thing, so it could have been another rhodolite garnet. Or it could have been an amethyst, I don't know, but they'd have to. I didn't see complete picture. They didn't hold it up to the sun to give me any kind of verification of what it was. But anyway, when I was looking at different types of jewelry that was dealing with that type situation, I did a complete background kind of thing on Victorian Georgian jewelry, because that dates back to 1590s to early 1700s. And that's where they did a lot of work on their jewelry back in that time period, kind of like Art Nouveau kind of jewelry. Their jewelry had a huge amount of detail in it. They used a lot of gold or silver. They used a lot of stones, and so on. And this is one of them that I came close to. Now, this one, as you can see, is using, and all these right now on that page that you saw, we're using all rhodolite garnets mostly. Not too many diamonds, but mostly of that fashion. This one had a lot of gold, a lot of ornamentation on it, and so on. This particular one is a vintage Georgian 14 karat gold garnet repulse brooch pin. And I want you to look at the quality of that and the details of the fine artwork on it to what they found here. See? So it has very similar qualities of it accordingly. And I think when it comes out throughout the show, they'll probably find out that they're looking probably around the Georgian Victorian age of their jewelry, of the two brooches that they found so far. Now, ownership wise is another thing. I haven't had enough time to deal with any of that and who wore it, but pins of this sort usually deal with the elite, upper class, and royalties. So yeah, anything under that, no, they wouldn't even have it. So that is my finding so far. Whether it's real or not, yes, they probably could have bought this pin or any pins maybe on the internet through eBay. This particular pin is posted in eBay in the UK. This particular pin, even though it's garnet, even though it's 14 karat gold, because the gemstones now are not worth a lot, they're like a semi-precious classification on the stones, being that they're garnet, is not worth a lot of money. But the gold is. This particular item in the UK is actually worth like $325. So, and dollar wise, okay, that's conversion. So I'm not sure the dimensions. I didn't measure nothing. It is what it is. So it's possible they could have bought a brooch and put it in the ground. Who's to say? Or maybe they really found something. In order for them to find out if they really found something, is do a carbon dating on the corrosion of the pin to find out when and if there's any kind of maker's mark. Jewelry will have maker's marks on them. So, and then also test the gem quality too, which I think that is going to be shown on the old brooch from season 5, coming up in some of their new episodes here in the future. So, and watch that one too, because that might verify that, their brooches and stuff are from the Georgian Victorian age Renaissance type area. I'm guessing around Georgian Victorian age. So, anyway, so thanks for looking and with the show with me and checking things out. Whether it's real or not, hey, it's part of history. And hey, you know what? We're still talking. It's all about communication, right? So let's all communicate together your thoughts, your ideas on any new shows that you might want to see or talk about, or ideas maybe. I'm going to be going into other topics here and talking about certain things that might happen modernly. Someone come to me and ask me about about their election situation and my 2 cents worth. Well, you know what? In the common sense book that's in the Library of Congress, my 2 cents on the voting thing. If they have weak laws, what do they expect? Weak results, right? Duh. So here we are. I don't care what party you're for. I don't care if you want to know what party I'm for. But, monkey see, monkey do. You know what I'm saying? So until, the president or other people can make the laws of election stiffer, with timelines being stiffer for getting in the results, and the failure to do so of getting in those results, which would be forfeiting the voting to the other party, I think it would motivate both parties of getting their fingers out of their butt and make sure they get the job done. And if there's people that's not competent in the political party area of elections, then they need to remove them from office as of in, an executive situation order. Anyway, that's my common sense for the day. Anyway, if you like any of the shows, click to subscribe and stay update with what's happening next and what topics we'll be talking about. And if you have any ideas on any shows or ideas of things for me to talk about or to do, leave them in the comment area. Always looking for ideas. It's all about communicating, right? Alright, until then, be safe, and don't forget, next week we'll be looking at the Oak Island mystery again, because this is for this season, and we'll be talking about the money pit again and what's happening each week. We'll have a little review and talk about it and see what's happening and what they found or not found. Things maybe they overlooked, maybe some mysteries they're not aware of, maybe some information that they overlooked. Okay? Until then, see you next time. Be safe.